What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, club swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Amy in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Anna, Andy, Bill. Jason's in the house. Good morning, Jason. It's been a while. Good morning to Jeff, Joe, JT, Kevin, Lance. Good morning to you. Good morning to Lauren, Lucian, Lydia, Marius, Martina. Natalie's in the house. Good morning to Tim, all my people out in YouTube land. I'm telling you guys, Hostel is the first one. He's been consistently the first one in YouTube commenting. The rest of you guys got to step it up. B Jol, good morning to you. I see a couple tickers from B Jol. If you guys have other tickers, let me know. Otherwise, all my lurkers in the background on YouTube, just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But uh, that was an interesting day yesterday. Pete, good morning to you. Uh, yeah, that was an interesting day. I don't know. You would have thought, and this is why I don't know. We'll see what happens today. Very, very interesting show of strength. Good job, Bulls, yesterday. Um, and somebody in YouTube land, I think it was Diane yesterday, she was asking what a gap and go was. I only saw that one later, the comment like well after. But gap and go is when you got all the Bulls buying here. You have the next day, everyone's feeling good. There's no wick at the top. There's a strong close. And then all of a sudden you're opening up down here. So you should be putting a little bit of fear panic into some of those bulls of like, man, they got me again. This market's moved. Why am I buying at the highs? You would think that would trigger some selling and probably get this downward push. We did open very close to a support. Even this one, we were underneath this one, so that's not a fantastic open. But you did have 2 days, two VPOCs, pretty strong level at this point, somewhere around 587.77. So we were above that. Maybe the Bulls only start panicking if we start breaking through. Bears not strong enough to do it, and the Bulls just kind of came back in, and for what looked like it could have been a very, very rough day in the market yesterday, Bulls not only did a good job hanging in there, but they actually took out the Friday VPOC, which would have been the next kind of resistance, 593.43. They actually closed a little volume higher. It's either this is going to be an incredible gift to the Bears. So if the Bears were like, man, I missed it. What happened? And we start breaking underneath 593.32 today. That might start putting a little bit of like, okay, just still might maybe inside day out, maybe nothing too crazy, but that might take us down to like 589.20 would be my next level. Something just kind of retest that. It would have to be, I think, some kind of a news headline for us to start breaking that, especially getting anywhere past 588 for today. So if we start breaking that down, crazy, crazy, just volatility in the market. But the way this one closed yesterday with the VPOC higher, the price higher, everything still looks bullish at close. And then today you have a little gap and go to the downside. Not as severe. Again, we're just opening into support, but we're also opening under yesterday's VPOC as well. So for today's range, I would expect a little bit of chop out of the gate. 594.15 is my little bit of resistance. Support is going to take us to 593.44. So whichever way we start closing or getting candles above or below those two zones would tell us where we should be going. But to be honest, I'm a little confused. I like the momentum leading up to this. We haven't really had any real pullbacks except for the gap down yesterday, which immediately got bought back up. So still telling me there's buy the dippers in this market. And on the bullish side, if we start breaking out of let's go past those two levels. The next one I got to the higher side is essentially where we closed. That takes me to about 595.09, so good spot for that to be held back. Anything past that, the next spot I got is about 597.97, and then right into the 600 mark, $600.17 to the higher side. So that would be my probably extended target for the bulls for today. If we start breaking lower than that mini little support that we have built in from Friday, we're going to probably be leaning back into this. I would assume 588.99 zone, and then maybe a little overextended, probably 587.97. So those would be my ranges on the SPY for today, but it does look like we don't have a really clear direction, except for maybe just continuing momentum from yesterday because the Bulls showed up. The bulls were there. Same thing with the Qs. Gap and go. You would think there'd be some selling in this one. Uh, nothing, nothing short of remarkable to get through. One, two, three, four VPOCs close slightly higher, and the stock price even closing higher than yesterday's VPOC as well. So that's showing us that there is some bulls still in the queue, still trying to push this thing higher. The Qs though, for today, this gap is a little bit more significant, I think, where now you do have what should have been a really good support, somewhere around 520.72. That is being taken out at open, so maybe a quick little pop into that. If we can't break that, the next target again, not too far away, but you got 518.93, and then maybe we start breaking through some of these, and that ends up being a fairly good level. This entire thing just failed gap and go retest, and now we trap those bulls finally. But for right now, again, very good close. Not a terrific open on the queue, so we'll have to see how this one plays out. If we can start getting above, I'd say the real spot you want to start getting above, we'll call it 521, but I got 520.96. Bitcoin, BTC, USD for all the crypto heads. We got Bitcoin kind of just chilling. So again, on Sunday, nice little breakout day. So good weekend. Got to some scary levels. I think we were looking at this one would pre-market. We were below a whole bunch, and the to the credit of the bulls, they closed up pretty high. You got a good hammer. That's the hammer you want to see get taken out. It's a little bit of a hammer high wave, I guess, but start really clearing 117, 177. That would be your confirmation. Otherwise, again, even yesterday's VPOC closed outside or higher than 104,460, so that looks strong. Today, I don't know, still inside day, but support should have been around 105, 448. That's not holding, but massive support below you. So I think we're in a little chop. I don't see anything too crazy yet, but we'll see how the day progresses, and we'll see where the bulls bears want to kind of step in. All right, we have a couple tickers. So the first one I saw was Qubits. Quantum stocks are on the move today. So watch anything quantum. You might get some follow through, some momentum. I think there's a quantum conference going on. But QBTS, nice little gap up. Again, retest gap. So there's been buying into this. Is this one gapping into all-time highs? I think it is. So all-time highs. If you've purchased this stock anywhere before today, you are profitable at the open. I would suggest that this probably has some kind of retest element to it. Quantum, uh, anything quantum related gets a lot of momentum in it, so be careful on the trades. Otherwise, I would expect probably some kind of drop down. I have no targets. We're at all-time highs. I've got nothing else to go off of except for probably eventually higher. I would just probably not want to be the guy buying it here. If we get a pullback and we could get back into this 13.15, now I know it's got the ability to hit the 15.55. Maybe I come in with some better pricing on that one, but we'll see on that one. The other one is IONQ. That one is also gapping up as well. So same thing here, retest. This one I got a little bit more levels on. It is a retest gap. We've had a nice push essentially from April 7th. Got the lows of like 1891 to now this gap up. That's almost a 100% return in about a month. So congrats to anybody that's a quantum believer that is just trying to buy those dips. This one's paid off fairly well, even though it's a retest gap. Again, same thing. You got the momentum that is definitely in anything quantum, especially for today as well. And it looks like for the last month we've been kind of riding that momentum up. For a retest, I would like to see 34.61. I don't know if we see it. This is a pretty good gap above even the last red candle, and you're probably looking for at least targets into 37.60 for today. We'll see if we can break that, and the next target up would be like 38.24. A little bit smack in the middle. I kind of get the feeling on this one, the gap and go, or the retest gap doesn't even play out. It probably opens and runs from there. I'm going to put this on the list. I think the only way I could really get a good setup for me is a high wave candle out of the gate. I'm not really sure where the target's going to run to. Again, it's up a lot. There is a lot of people profitable. You're starting to get into this. We're not there yet, but we're starting to get to a little bit of range where there was some consolidation, maybe some selling as we approach higher. Massive target would be like 41.32. That would be a crazy candle. But again, we've done crazy candles in this one before. But maybe if we get a high wave candle, I'd kind of want to be at least at a 1.2 R into like 37.78, and then try to hang in there for like a 38.24 zone. But I need a intraday, otherwise I'm just kind of feel like I'm buying this too high without the retest. If the retest comes in, yeah, I'd be willing to establish some longs a little bit lower, but good gap for anybody that was holding that one overnight. EQ and R. This one looks interesting. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's quantum related or not. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. Energy minerals, maybe. Kind of looks like the quantum gaps. I'm not sure if it is though. Um, Good candle. This one got taken out. Lucian says some of my tickers on TradingView already have daily prints for today. Just screenshot those, print those out, and then we'll see how it matches at the end of the day, I guess. Well, maybe they're predicting the future now on TradingView. Usually you might have to pay extra for them to just predict the future, but you will make your money back on the investment. I'm pretty positive. Once you know exactly where the high of every stock is going to go, that's a good investment, I think. Yeah, this one, I like the candle that we're taking out. So the candle from yesterday had a decent amount of volume. VPOC closed lower, a little bit of a surprise gap, catching some of the bears off guard on this one. You do have that 100 EMA coming in, so I'm not sure how strong that's going to be. Just knowing it's there, I would love to see this thing pull back a little bit, but this probably a decent one for high wave candle. Target, well, the first support, so maybe a small little pullback to like 23.73. And then I think your next target on this one will probably take you to about the 2407 range. So not a bad move if you get through that 100. That would be my first target. Maybe the next one takes you to like 2416, and then I think a much bigger one, 2434. So not a huge range. Swing trade probably pretty decent. You're at pretty decent lows on this one. Nice little longer term pullback. And as a swing trade, this could just be all one, two, three. Wave counts, probably starting there. One, two, three, four, five consolidation ABC. Longer term, the all-time highs in this one was about 42.70. So yeah, swing trade I like. Day trade, I don't know if there's enough in it, but I'm definitely going to add this one to the list. We will see. We got Dollar Tree, Home Depot. Also, yep, they reported Dollar Tree. This one's been a sneaky quiet one off the lows. Good gap up. It is a retest gap from yesterday, and for the moment, at least, you are running into a very, very big resistance, somewhere around this 88.41 zone. So that's kind of where, if you were riding the momentum, you had this come in, maybe you got a little freaked out. This is just a retest, really, into that closing the gap. So you might have that momentum that could break through it, but I'd want to see this 88.41 get taken out first. Next target to the higher side. Yeah, you have a lot of room on this one. You got a lot of room up until 92.51, so that's a decent move. Obviously, psychologically, we're probably gonna have to break this pivot, so maybe all we could get is like 89.97 if we can't break that. But I think that'd be a pretty good sign if you could get a little bit higher on this one. Otherwise, see if you get the retest, and then a better spot to go long would be about 87.20 stops. I would think somewhere below 85.93, or maybe to extend it out a little bit further, 84.77. But looks decent. A little choppy. Let's move it up higher on the list, though. We'll see how this one opens. And if we could start taking out that higher level, I'd want to try to figure out how to be bullish on it. Let's get that one up here. HD. I already thought of that, but they're all just dojis with no wicks. Oh, not as useful then. Home Depot is gapping up. The earnings weren't great. They did miss earnings per share by about 1%. Snuck in an extra 556 million. Maybe the guidance was decent. Not sure why this is gapping, but you do have the gap nonetheless. This is also a retest gap, clearing a pretty interesting space. So I think the resistance for me would have been somewhere around this 385.70. So as long as I'm above that, I'll be bullish. Uh, Not sure on targets on this one. I think the higher end target would take you to about 394.80. If we could squeeze that out, you got about $7 to the higher side. Otherwise, the very next resistance comes in about 390.42. Still got about $3 to the higher side on that one. So this is a retest gap, probably primed for that high wave indecision candle because there is people profitable on this gap up, but however, it's a pretty good location. So let's get that one higher. I'd be bullish at this level, and then if we start breaking down a little bit lower, so if we start breaking down this 385.70, and that might actually be a decent spot to try to get in, but we will see. All right, I know you put one more out there, HPE. HPE. Sometimes I gotta scroll through the chat a little. You got HPE is looking decent. The real next target for me would be 1876. Be careful, you still have that 1848 200. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of resistance at that. That's probably somebody's target is right there. Otherwise, fantastic looking gap. We just cleared this pivot. A small little pullback. I think a healthy pullback would be $18.11. So the closer you could buy off that, I think gets you the best risk reward. We're not that far away from it now. It's about 7 cents. We'll get this one higher. Again, the biggest thing for me would be that 200 until we start clearing it. Just knowing that somebody's going to be selling there. Other than that, I think we could probably hang in there. 1875 would be not a bad spot. That still gives us for an $18 stock. That's not bad. Uh, I see Tesla in the chat. So Tesla, and I didn't even know this, but Tesla has the Robo Taxi conference coming up in a couple weeks. Uh, buy before the buy before the conference, I guess. I don't know. But this one is doing something a little different, so a little bit stronger than the rest of the market today. However, and I think we got there pre-market, 347.91 is a huge level for it. At this point, if we can start breaking that out, then we have psychological 350. We've been past that. We have probably the next spot about 353.32, and then maybe into this 360 zone. I have somewhere around 362.10 is kind of the next retest spot where I expect a bigger resistance on this one. Other than that, though, it's just kind of hanging out inside. So watch for the higher end of this, somewhere around this 347.95. And then if you get a pullback, bigger support should be 342.33. Typically, and that's a decent range, but I don't know if I want to go long here on this gap up, even though it's showing a little bit more strength. And then at the very same time, to go short, maybe that's your play for quick. 342.49 though is a spot where I would be interested in day trading that one long, seeing if it holds that support and trying to play it more to the upside than to the downside, as it does have some strength. But watch out for that resistance right above you. And then if it starts clearing the 347, we'll call it 90, but starts getting above that, I like it. Bull, I see that one coming in the chat. Yeah, a little bit of a gap up. I was trying to find news on this one. The only thing I saw was Coinbase kind of partnering with them. This one does some crazy volatility, but that the news wasn't from today. It wasn't from, it was like from the 9th. So it's a little bit of old news. I don't know if it just kind of recirculated or what happened that gave it the push, or maybe I just missed something. It's also trending on StockTwits. I saw that. I think it was trending on Reddit as well. So at least you have some interest in the stock. Again, the only news I saw was a little bit older. However, this candle got right into all of that little bit of support. So we got a good balance. There's only one other support below it, $10.60. I'd be a little terrified if it gets under that. But for now, pretty good gap up. You're trapping some bulls from yesterday. Even on this candle from Friday, not a great looking candle, rejected that 200. And we are above that VPOC with volume on that day. So that's a good level to try to hold, see if we can stay above 1260. And we're also above the VPOC from Thursday. So fairly good open. You might have a good push on this one. Your 200 could cause a little chaos. Somewhere, I think that's pretty much where we got to pre-market, $13.30. Otherwise, I think your target to the higher side for today would take you to about 1357 on a $12.82 stock, which is where it's at now. That would still be a really, really good move. So we could watch this one. We could try to trade it. It does trade chaotically sometimes, but I've been watching this one now for a little bit, trying to get a good feel of it. Does some crazy things. But we'll see. As long as we stay above that level, I do like it bullish, and then we got to see if we can just climb through that 200 EMA on the daily. Hims hanging out, good consolidation. I actually like the open for today. So the fact that we are above where my resistance would have been, and that's essentially small day yesterday, but where we came back for this retest and closed. We closed right at the 62.33 level, somewhere around there. So as long as we stay above that, I like it bullish. We're still in consolidation, but I think still bullish is probably the way to lean. We did hit that first little resistance. So next target to the bull side would be up until like 65.42. It's another stock. Retailers love it. Momentum comes in strong on this one. Tessie's starting to break some of those levels we just talked about. So watch Tessie. And then I think you got 69.85 would be my next target on Hims. So that one's looking fairly decent as well. I'd probably still want to stay bullish as opposed to bearish. Hasn't really given me too much of a sign that we're reversing, so I like it bullish. It's already decently high on the list. All right, let's see what else we got. Roku, DraftKings, Adobe, Amazon, Palantir, PayPal all have those wicks. Let's see some of those wicks on the daily chart you're talking about. I got nothing. I got nothing unless I go to a small time frame. On TradingView, does mine look anything like yours, or yours is just you got the advanced level, I think. I do have like one spot. Is this from yesterday? This is Tuesday. Yeah, this is today. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's no wick on it. And so far still rejecting the two the 100 EMA. So maybe that's what we see on Roku today. But yeah, that does look a little strange. Does it have a high low to it? High is yeah, $70.83. The low is high and low is the same price. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I know yesterday there was some wild wicks coming in on the SPY. I think Tesla had a couple, Nvidia had a couple too. But um, also I saw the same wicks on TradingView, so I wasn't sure what was really happening. UPS, they all look like glitches. I don't think any of them are real, but they're still. I even scroll back. Not on TradingView, but on TOS, they're still there. Maybe they're there on TradingView too. I'm not sure. UPS, kind of hanging out still. Not loving the location. You do have the support of the 20 EMA on it, but gap and go from yesterday, still inside day candle. So look for maybe a little support somewhere around the 98.63 zone. But I would have liked to see this one open a little bit higher, somewhere around 98, 97. I think I'd be looking a little bit more bearish on this one. Probably with eventual targets to about 97.13, it looks like that will close the gap, and then we'll kind of see how it plays out from there. But really, really good gap up, almost double topped up here. Not enough strength. Looks like it probably wants to come in for the pullback. Otherwise, if you get an overextended sell to it, probably about 96.05 would be your target after that one. So we will see how that one plays out. Otherwise, yeah, chilling. Lucian says no prints on my TOS, so it must be for the daily candles for today. Yeah, yeah, the intraday ones were there for me on TOS and TradingView at the same time, but yeah, TOS doesn't look like it hasn't picked up those ones, not quite yet. Nvidia, Nvidia is gap and go to the bear side for today. Again, this is a spot the bulls really have to hold on Nvidia, and we'll see if they can do it. This is why it's like. What a day. What a day this put in. So this one technically was a retest gap from yesterday. We did get up into the retest zone, but even this one closed a little bit higher. Not super strong, nothing too crazy, but if we're looking at this chart a week from now, right? And I don't know how this chart's going to look. It's either looking like this, or generally flat, right? So one of those three options. Maybe we're just in a big consolidation period that just kind of lasts longer than we think. Or we're looking at this chart going, yeah, Bulls were strong here. They took it out. They did what they had to do. They got above it and we took off. Or we're looking at this thing going, that was a great retest gap for the Bears to come in. The market just told you we're getting the gap down. You start getting some fear panic, and it's a good time to buy some puts. I don't know. And a lot of these individual names are all like doing something kind of similar. So we'll see. But for me, my signs on this one would be you start getting underneath, and especially if we get a close underneath 134.48. Then this is looking a little bit more like yesterday was just all one big retest and a spot for the Bears come in to set up some of these better entries to hop in and play the further move to the downside. I've got room until like 130.21, but we have to break this down first. So we'll see how this one wants to play out. And then to the higher side, if we start getting another close, but back above 135.32, that would tell me that the Bulls are still hanging out and we probably end up breaking out from here. We shall see. Let's take a look at AMD, the counterpart. AMD looking a little bit weak today too. So chips maybe suffering a little today. Chips don't look as strong. I mean, Tesla's going kind of crazy, but some other individuals' names, Bull, Spy just dropped a little bit too. So things are pulling back, I guess. But we have probably about targets to about 112.54. This would be an interesting short, I think. So if this one gets bought up into or gets some kind of high wave candle, top of that candle is like 114.49. We could probably establish a fairly decent day trade for the short side, and that would give us about $2 to the downside just to even close this gap up, which would look interesting. Hood, I know you guys, a lot of you guys have Hood. Hood still looking very, very strong. Very strong. Still inside day from yesterday, so we have to break out, but that closed above the previous pivot. VPOC is higher, so that one looks stronger. If you see a little pullback on this one, I think your first spot of where maybe some bulls want to step in is about 63.50. I would see if that happens, just being an inside day candle, and then if we could take off from there, Hood might be decent. XYZ we haven't looked at in a while, and this one is just hanging out, nothing too crazy. See if we get through like 58.60, but even with that, you got about 59.61 is the next little target. So Ray says Bulls didn't care about the credit downgrade. I don't know if I think they did to some extent, but we've been so strong, and I do think there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines. So that gap down was an opportunity for some people to try to catch up with the rest of the market, get some more positions in, and that's why I'm confused. I don't know until we get a clear break either way. That would be my sign for me. It's either we have just money piling in, the Bulls want to hang out strong. For me, I did take out some puts on SPY. I got some puts on Tesla as a hedge and Nvidia as well. So we'll see how they play out. But if we start breaking out higher, I'll take the small loss, and if they work, they work. Other than that, everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. Unfortunately, that is the morning bell, so I have to disconnect. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Trump does speak a lot.